Rain fell heavy on the alien marketplace. The ground was wet, dirty, and full of mud. Stalls stood on both sides of the street, covered with weak cloth roofs that shook in the storm. Strange voices called out, trying to sell fruits, weapons, and glowing trinkets. The air smelled of smoke, wet clothes, and something rotten. People walked quickly, keeping their heads down to avoid the rain. Nobody cared for anyone else, but in the center of this busy place, one figure was different. A young alien girl knelt on the muddy ground. Her body shook from the cold. Her hair, long and silver, clung to her pale face. Her clothes were torn, nothing more than rags. Her hands pressed into the mud as if she had no strength to rise. Her eyes, large and bright like two small stars, searched the crowd with silent hope. Yet no one stopped. People passed by as if she was invisible. Some looked at her for a second, then turned away. A few even whispered cruel things. To them, she was nothing. Just another beggar, just another broken soul in a cruel world. The girl's lips trembled. She whispered words, but the storm and the crowd swallowed her voice. Her heart pounded. She wanted someone, anyone, to notice her. She wanted to live. But as the hours passed, despair grew heavy on her shoulders. She lowered her head, and tears mixed with the rain on her face. Then, footsteps stopped near her. The girl raised her head slowly. A human stood there. His boots were dirty from the mud, his clothes simple but strong. He looked different from the others in the marketplace. His eyes carried both caution and curiosity. He was not rushing past like everyone else. He was staring at her. For a moment, silence hung between them. The girl's heart raced. She wanted to speak, but her throat felt dry. At last, with shaking lips, she whispered, "Please, take me as your servant." The human froze. He did not expect those words. Around them, people kept walking, paying no attention. Only he heard the desperate plea. His brows lowered as he tried to understand. The girl bowed her head deeper into the mud. "I have nothing, no food, no home. My people have left me. Please, if you do not take me, I will die." Her voice cracked, but her words were clear. The human stared at her in silence. His heart felt heavy. Why would a young alien beauty, so fragile and alone, beg to be taken as a servant? There was something strange here, something hidden. He noticed. Her hands. They were bruised and scratched, but on her skin faint lines glowed, like small streams of light beneath the surface. Not normal, not safe. She was different from the others in the marketplace. The girl saw his hesitation. She lifted her face again. Her glowing eyes locked onto his. "Please," she whispered again, louder this time. "I will do anything. Just don't leave me here." The human felt the weight of her words. He could turn away, pretend he never saw her. That would be easy. But something inside him told him to stay. Something about this girl was pulling him, like an unseen force tying their fates together. He did not speak yet. He just looked at her, trying to decide. The girl's heart pounded harder. Every second of silence felt like an eternity. Would he accept her? Or would he walk away like all the others? Rain fell harder, washing the mud around her knees. The girl shivered, waiting for his answer. And so began a story that would change both their lives forever. The rain did not stop. It poured harder, drumming against the wooden stalls and splashing into the muddy street. The human stood still, staring at the alien girl who knelt before him. Around them, life in the marketplace continued as if nothing unusual was happening. But for the girl, this moment was everything. Her voice trembled as she lifted her head. Again. "Please, human, I beg you. Take me as your servant. I will carry your things, clean your clothes, cook your food. I will do anything. Just don't leave me here." Her words carried the raw sound of despair. She was not asking for kindness. She was not asking for love. She was asking for survival. The human's jaw tightened. He had seen many strange things in this galaxy, but never a young alien beauty lowering herself so far, begging to be taken as a servant. Something about her plea struck him deep. "Why me?" he finally asked, his voice low. The girl's eyes widened. For a moment she could not answer. Her lips trembled, and then she whispered, "Because you are the only one who stopped." The human glanced around. She was right. Dozens of people had passed her, but nobody cared. To them, she was invisible, useless. But she had seen something in him, hesitation, a spark of humanity, that gave her the courage to speak. Her thin hands pressed into the mud as she leaned closer, her eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Everyone else turned away. But you looked at me. "Please. I cannot survive on my own. If you refuse me now, I have nowhere else to go." The human felt a weight in his chest. Something about the way she spoke was different. Her voice was soft, broken, yet filled with a strange dignity. She was not lying. He could feel it. Still, doubt gnawed at him. "What happened to you? Why are you here like this?" The girl's breath caught. Pain flashed across her face. She lowered her gaze, and tears mixed with the rain sliding down her cheeks. "I was betrayed," she whispered. "My people. They left me. They said I was cursed. They threw me out and nobody dared to help me. To them, I am nothing but a danger." Her words made the human's stomach tighten. Betrayed? Cursed? What kind of story was hidden behind those eyes? The girl placed her hands together in front of her, like a prisoner begging for mercy. "I do not ask for freedom. I do not ask for honor. I only ask for a place at your side, even if it is in chains. Please, human. Let me serve you. Let me live." The human's eyes narrowed. He could feel the truth in her words, but another question burned inside him. "And what if I say no?" The girl's body shook. She looked down, her voice almost lost under the storm. "Then I will stay here until the mud swallows me." Her answer hit him harder than he expected. She was ready to die rather than keep begging others. That kind of despair was not normal. It came from deep wounds, from a life crushed by betrayal and fear. But then he noticed something again. Her hands. The faint glowing lines under her skin pulsed softly, almost like living light. They were not scars, not normal marks. They looked like something powerful, dangerous. The human's eyes narrowed. "What are you hiding?" he asked. The girl froze. Her shoulders stiffened and her breath quickened. She looked at her hands, then quickly pulled them into her lap as if ashamed. I cannot tell you. Not here. Not now. Please, just take me away from this place. If you leave me here, they will find me." "They?" the human asked, his voice sharp. The girl's eyes darted toward the crowd. For a moment, her glowing eyes filled with fear. She leaned closer and whispered, "The hunters." The human's blood ran cold. Hunters. That word carried meaning. That word meant danger. Whoever this girl was, she was not just some poor, abandoned alien. She was being hunted. Her voice cracked again, desperate. "If they find me, they will kill me. Please, human. Even if you see me as a burden, I will serve you without question. Just don't let them take me." The human clenched his fists. His heart beat faster, his mind full of questions. Who was she really? Why were hunters after her? And why was she willing to give up her freedom so easily? The girl pressed her forehead into the mud, her silver hair spreading around her face, like broken silk. I beg you with all I have left. Accept me, please." The rain washed over both of them, but the world felt strangely quiet. Her plea echoed in the human's ears, heavy and sharp like a blade. For the first time, he felt that this was not just chance. This meeting was not an accident. And yet, he still did not know if he was ready to accept her. The rain poured without mercy. Water rolled off rooftops and splashed into deep puddles. The human stood tall in the muddy street, staring at the alien girl who still knelt before him. Her silver hair clung to her face, her hands pressed together. In desperation, her glowing eyes pleading with him to accept her. But his heart was not ready. Doubt filled his mind like storm clouds. He asked himself, why me? Why should I carry this burden? Why should I believe her words? The girl had said she was abandoned. She had spoken of betrayal, of being cursed, of hunters searching for her. But could any of it be true? Or was this all a trick, a trap designed to pull him into danger? The human had survived many places across the galaxy. He had learned not to trust too easily. People lied, aliens lied. Desperate ones lied most of all. And yet, something about her voice, something about the way her body shook as she begged, felt real. Too real. He crossed his arms, his eyes narrowing. If what you say is true, why should I take you? What do I gain? Why should I risk myself for you? The girl raised her head slowly. Her face was pale, her eyes shining like two wet gems. She spoke with a voice that cracked with weakness, but her words were strong. Because you are human. The human frowned. And what does that mean? Her lips trembled as she whispered, humans are different. My people fear you, but they also speak of you. They say humans have hearts that see what others do not. They say you are dangerous not because of your weapons, but because you care. The human froze at her words. It was strange hearing such things from someone broken in the mud. Could she really believe this? Or was it another story meant to pull him closer? Still, her words stirred something inside him. The girl leaned forward, her voice shaking. I do not ask you to fight for me. I only ask you to let me follow you. I will not complain, I will not slow you down. I will be your shadow, nothing more. Please do not leave me here. The human's eyes lowered to her hands. The faint glowing lines under her skin pulsed again, like tiny rivers of light flowing beneath her flesh. He felt a chill run down his spine. He had seen strange technology, alien implants, and genetic marks before. But this was something different. Something alive. What are you really? He asked, his voice hard. The girl's body stiffened. She looked away, unable to meet his eyes. I cannot say. If I speak it here, they will know. They are always listening. Her answer only deepened his doubt. Hunters, betrayal, glowing marks, secrets she could not share. Every part of her story pulled him in two directions. Half of him wanted to walk away, the other half wanted to reach down and lift her out of the mud. His fists clenched. Why does this feel so heavy? Why does she feel so important? The girl's breath grew faster as if she could sense his hesitation. She pressed her forehead into the mud again, her silver hair falling over her face. I am not lying. If you leave me, they will come. If they catch me, I will die. Please, human. If you have even a small piece of mercy, take me. Her voice cracked on the last words, breaking into quiet sobs. The sound cut through the human's chest like a blade. But still, his mind whispered questions. What if she brings me danger? What if the hunters attack me because of her? What if I save her only to regret it later? The human's boots sank deeper into the mud as he shifted his weight. Around him, the market continued as if blind to the storm building between him and the girl. Merchants shouted. Children ran through. Puddles and the smell of cooked alien food mixed with the smell of wet earth. Nobody cared about the scene. Nobody but him. The girl looked up again. Her face was streaked with tears and rain. Her glowing eyes locked onto his. You do not have to trust me today, she whispered, but please, let me live long enough to earn your trust tomorrow. Those words struck him harder than anything else she had said. She was not asking for instant belief. She was asking for a chance. The human's heart beat heavy in his chest. He wanted to turn away, to escape this. Wait. But every time he looked at her, every time he saw her fragile body shaking in the cold mud, his doubt grew weaker and his pity grew stronger. Still, he could not decide. His hand rose slightly, then fell back to his side. His lips parted, but no words came out. The girl waited, trembling, every second feeling like her last hope was slipping away. The human's mind burned with one final question. If I take her, what will I bring upon myself? The storm roared above them as if the sky itself demanded an answer. The storm raged on, and the human still stood in silence, his mind heavy with questions. The alien girl knelt before him, her body weak, her eyes glowing softly in the rain. For a long moment neither of them spoke. The world around them moved as if blind to their struggle. Finally, the human broke the silence. His voice was calm, but sharp. Tell me the truth. If you want me to take you, I need to know who you are. I need to know why hunters follow you. What is your secret? The girl's lips trembled. Her eyes shifted nervously, scanning the crowd as if shadows might leap at her from any corner. She lowered her head, whispering, If I tell you, you may fear me. You may even leave me. The human's eyes narrowed. Then it's better I know now than regret it later. The girl closed her eyes and her breath shook. She pressed her hands into the mud, her glowing marks hidden under the rain. For a long moment she seemed too afraid to speak. Then, in a fragile voice, she began, I was not always like this. I was born into a high house, one of the noble families of my people. My bloodline was respected. My parents believed I would one day lead. But fate betrayed me. Her voice cracked, but she pushed on. When I was young, the marks appeared on my skin. At first, they thought it was a gift. They said I carried ancient power, light from the stars. But as the marks grew, people changed. Whispers spread. They said it was not a blessing but a curse, that my blood carried danger, that my touch brought ruin. The human's eyes stayed locked on her. He said nothing, letting her words spill. Like the rain around them, the girl's fingers clawed at the mud. One night my own family turned against me. They feared the hunters, feared what the marks meant. My parents, my own blood, threw me out. I begged them to let me stay. I swore I would never use the power. But they looked at me as if I was already dead. They abandoned me to the streets. Her voice shook harder now, tears falling freely with the rain. Since that night I have been hunted. They say my kind must not live, that I carry something the galaxy must never see. Everywhere I go, eyes follow me. Everywhere I hide, hunters come. And now, I am nothing but a servant begging for scraps of mercy. The human's chest tightened as he listened. He had heard stories of betrayals, but never one so cruel. An entire family casting away their own child, afraid of something they did not understand. But still, doubt whispered inside him. What if she is dangerous? What if the marks on her skin are not a curse, but a weapon? The girl looked up suddenly, her eyes burning with sorrow. I do not lie to you, human. I have no reason to lie. My life is already broken. All I want is to survive, even if it means serving at your feet. The human studied her face. Her words carried pain too deep to fake. He had seen liars before, cowards, thieves, beggars pretending to suffer. But this girl's voice was different. It was raw, honest. Still, the glowing marks on her hands troubled him. He could not deny what he had seen, light running through her veins like fire hidden beneath her skin. What are the hunters after? He asked, his tone sharp. The girl's breath caught. Her voice dropped to a whisper. They want my blood. They say it holds power that could burn world or heal them. The human stiffened. Burn worlds? Heal them? What kind of blood was this? She lowered her gaze again. I never wanted this power. I never asked for it. I only wanted to be normal, to laugh, to live. But now, I am a target, and if you leave me here, they will come. They will drag me away, and I will not see another sunrise. Her words hung heavy between them. The human clenched his jaw, his mind torn. He had spent his life avoiding trouble, surviving by staying away from other people's wars. Taking her would mean stepping into a storm bigger than himself. But leaving her meant watching her die in the mud. The girl raised her face again, her voice soft but steady. I told you my past. Now you know my truth. If you walk away, I will not stop you. But if you take me, I will serve you with everything I have left. My life will be yours. Her glowing eyes locked on his, filled with both fear and hope. The human stood still, the rain dripping from his hair, his clothes heavy with water. He felt the weight of her words pressing on him like chains. Part of him screamed to walk away, to leave this cursed girl to her fate. But another part, a deeper part, whispered that this meeting was not chance, that maybe, just maybe, his life was meant to cross hers. And as he stood in silence, the sound of footsteps echoed from the far side of the market. Dark figures moved through the rain. The girl's body froze, her eyes wide with terror. They have found me, she whispered. The girl's whisper froze the human's blood. They have found me. Her glowing eyes darted toward the far end of the marketplace. Through the heavy curtain of rain, dark shapes began to appear. Tall, armored figures moved with slow purpose, their steps heavy against the wet ground. Their faces were hidden behind metallic masks, but their glowing red eyes cut through the mist like fire. The human felt the air around him grow colder. He had seen hunters before, merciless trackers who never stopped until their prey was caught. But these were different. There was no rush in their movements, no hesitation. They were confident. They knew their target had nowhere to run. The alien girl pressed herself lower into the mud, her body trembling. Please, don't let them take me. The human clenched his fists. He had not agreed to protect her yet. He had not decided if she was worth the danger. But the moment he saw the hunters, his instincts screamed at him. If he turned away now, she would be dragged into the shadows, never to be seen again. The hunters spread out, scanning the crowd. People quickly moved aside, pretending not to notice. Nobody wanted to stand in their way. The marketplace grew quiet, as if fear itself had stolen every voice. One hunter pointed forward. His voice was deep and metallic. There, the marked one. The girl gasped and grabbed the human's leg, her fingers shaking. Please, if you leave me now, I will die. The human's heart pounded. He hated choices like this. He hated being pulled into battles that were not his. But something inside him would not let him walk away. He bent down, his voice low and sharp. If I take you, there's no going back. Do you understand? The girl's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded quickly. Yes. I will follow you. Anywhere. The human grabbed her arm and pulled her up from the mud. She stumbled to her feet, weak, but holding on. The hunters began to move faster now, their boots splashing in the puddles as they closed in. The human glared at them, his jaw tight. He could see the weapons on their belts, sharp blades and energy nets designed to capture without killing. They did not want her dead, at least not yet. That was worse. The lead hunter raised his hand. Step aside, human, she belongs to us. The human tightened his grip on the girl's arm. His voice was steady but cold. She belongs to no one. The hunter's mask tilted slightly as if studying him. Then a metallic laugh echoed. You think you can protect her? You don't understand what she is. Hand her over, and we may let you live. The human's eyes narrowed. Always the same. Always threats. Behind him, the girl whispered. Don't fight them. They're too strong. But the human shook his head. Running is enough. He pulled her with him and darted into a side alley just as the hunters raised their weapons. Bolts of red energy shot through the rain, striking the mud where they had stood seconds earlier. The crowd screamed and scattered. Chaos filled the marketplace. The girl stumbled as they ran, but the human held her steady. The narrow streets twisted and turned, the sound of boots chasing close behind. Why do they want you so badly? He demanded between breaths. Her voice broke as she answered. Because of my blood. They believe it carries power. If they take me, they will use it. And many will die. The human cursed under his breath. This was worse than he thought. She wasn't just a runaway. She was the center of something bigger, something dangerous. The hunters' voices echoed behind them. She cannot escape. Close the paths. The human glanced over his shoulder. The hunters were faster than he expected, their glowing red eyes cutting through the mist. They leapt over obstacles, their heavy armor slowing them little. Keep moving, the human shouted. The girl gasped, trying to match his speed. Her hands glowed faintly again, the marks on her skin burning brighter with every step. She clenched them against her chest, as if afraid of what the light might do. They turned another corner and came to a dead end. A tall wall blocked the path, slick with rain and impossible to climb quickly. The girl's face paled. We're trapped. The hunter's footsteps grew louder, closer. Shadows stretched across the alley walls. The human scanned the area quickly, his mind racing. He had survived worse. He would survive this. His eyes landed on a broken ladder leaning against the wall. It was weak, but maybe strong enough for her. He pulled the girl toward it. Climb now. She shook her head, panic filling her eyes. What about you? I'll follow. Move. The girl obeyed, gripping the slippery ladder and pulling herself upward. Her weak arms trembled, but fear gave her strength. The hunters reached the mouth of the alley. Their leader raised his weapon, the red glow reflecting off the rain. The human stepped forward, his stance firm, his voice carried through the storm. If you want her, you'll have to get through me. The hunters paused, studying him. For the first time, silence filled the alley. Only the rain spoke, dripping and splashing on cold stone. Then, in one violent motion, the hunters raised their weapons. The human's muscles tensed, his heart pounded. He knew this fight was only beginning. And above him, the girl's glowing hands pulsed brighter, as if something inside her was waking. The human's breath slowed as he faced the hunters. Rain trickled down his face, dripping from his chin, but his eyes did not leave the glowing red eyes of the masked figures. Behind him, the girl climbed the shaky ladder, her hands trembling, her silver hair sticking to her wet face. Every second mattered. The leader of the hunters stepped forward, his metallic voice cut through the storm. You cannot protect her, human. She is marked. She belongs to us. The human smirked faintly, though his heart pounded in his chest. Strange. She doesn't look like she belongs to anyone. That single sentence was enough. The hunters raised their weapons, glowing with red energy. Bolts shot forward, cutting the rain with sharp light. The human dove aside, his body hitting the wet ground. Sparks exploded against the wall behind him. The girl gasped but kept climbing, pushing herself upward with desperate strength. The ladder shook violently, one of its rungs snapping under her weight. She nearly fell but caught herself, her glowing hands gripping the broken metal tight. The human rolled to his feet, grabbed a loose piece of wood from the alley floor, and swung it hard against one of the hunters who charged too close. The wood cracked against the hunter's mask, staggering him back a step. It was not much, but it bought time. Go, the human shouted. Climb faster. The girl obeyed, her chest burning, her weak arms pulling her higher. But the hunters did not slow. Two of them aimed their weapons upward, preparing to strike her down before she could escape. The girl froze in terror. Her glowing marks burned brighter, her whole body shaking as if something inside her was trying to break free. She pressed her hands together, begging silently for strength. Then, it happened. Light burst from her palms, soft at first. Then, brighter, hotter like a living flame of white-blue energy. The glow spread across her body, illuminating the rain like lightning frozen in time. The hunters stopped, their weapons lowering slightly. Even the human looked up in shock. The girl's voice trembled, almost as if she did not recognize herself. Stay back. But the light did not stay in her hands. It exploded outward in a wave, a pulse of pure energy that struck the hunters like a storm. The force threw them against the walls of the alley, their weapons flying from their hands. Sparks scattered across the wet ground. The human shielded his face from the blast, his boots sliding back in the mud. When the light faded, the alley was filled with smoke and silence. The girl collapsed against the top of the wall, her body weak from the sudden surge. Her breath came in ragged gasps. She looked down at her glowing hands in horror. No. Not again. The human's eyes narrowed. He had guessed she was hiding something powerful, but this was beyond what he imagined. The hunters groaned, their heavy armor damaged but not destroyed. Slowly, they began to rise. Their leader's voice hissed through his broken mask. She must not escape. She is too dangerous to live. The girl's eyes widened with terror. She tried to move, but her body was too weak. She had no strength left to fight. The human gritted his teeth. He had no more time to doubt. If he hesitated now, she would be captured, and her power would fall into the wrong hands. Without another word, he leapt for the ladder, climbed quickly, and reached the top beside her. "Can you move?" he asked sharply. She shook her head, her body trembling. I can't. My strength is gone." The human sighed, then lifted her into his arms. She was light, fragile, almost weightless, but the faint glow from her marks made her feel like holding a piece of living fire. Below them, the hunters regrouped, raising their weapons again, but the human did not wait. He jumped down the other side of the wall, landing hard but steady. The girl clung weakly to him, her head resting against his chest. The streets beyond were dark and narrow, twisted like a maze. The human ran, his boots splashing through puddles, his eyes scanning every corner for safety. Behind them, the hunters roared and began their pursuit once more. The girl whispered weakly, her voice filled with guilt. "You saw what I am?" "Yes," the human said between breaths. "And I don't care." Her eyes widened slightly, but she was too weak to respond. The chase continued. Torches and glowing weapons lit the shadows behind them. The hunters would not stop, but now the human had something he did not have before: resolve. He had doubted her. He had questioned her worth. But after seeing the power she carried, after seeing her fear and pain, he knew one thing for certain: she could not be left to them. The rain poured harder, hiding their footsteps, covering their escape. The human turned corner after corner, carrying the fragile girl in his arms. Every breath burned his lungs, every muscle screamed, but he did not stop. At last, he reached an abandoned storage house at the edge of the marketplace. The roof sagged, the doors broken, but it was shelter. He pushed inside and lowered the girl gently onto the dry floor. Her glowing marks dimmed, fading back into faint lines. She looked up at him with weak eyes. Why didn't you leave me?" The human knelt beside her, his face shadowed. "Because I've seen enough people left behind. I won't do it again." For a moment, silence filled the broken house. The girl's lips trembled, but a faint smile touched her face. Outside, the sound of hunters grew distant, but their search was not over. The human knew this was only the beginning. The rain slowed to a soft drizzle. Outside, the hunters' distant voices echoed through the streets. But for now, the broken storage house gave the human and the alien girl a fragile silence. The air inside smelled of dust and wet wood. Water dripped slowly from the leaking roof, each drop tapping against the floor like a clock counting down. The girl lay on the floor, her body weak, her glowing marks now faint and dim. Her breaths came shallow, her silver hair spread around her face like a wet veil. She looked fragile, almost breakable, but her eyes, those glowing eyes, still held life. The human knelt beside her, his body heavy with exhaustion. His chest rose and fell hard from the chase. His mind was a storm of questions, but for now only one mattered. He spoke quietly, his voice rough. "Can you move?" The girl shook her head slowly. "Not yet. The light takes my strength." The human frowned. "That power of yours, It saved us. But it also almost destroyed you. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "That is why they fear me. The hunters, my people. They think I cannot control it. They think I will bring ruin." She looked down at her glowing hands. Maybe they are right. The human's eyes softened for the first time. "You didn't destroy me. You saved me and yourself." Her gaze lifted, her voice weak but desperate. "Then, will you still keep me? Even after what you saw?" The human was silent. His thoughts battled inside him. She was dangerous. Her very presence invited hunters, trouble, and death. He had lived most of his life avoiding such burdens. Yet here she was, kneeling in front of him with nothing but hope in her eyes. He asked, "Why me? Why not someone else?" Her lips curved into a faint, broken smile. "Because you didn't walk away." The words struck him deeper than he expected. He remembered the moment he first saw her, kneeling in the mud, ignored by everyone else. He remembered the plea in her voice, the way she whispered for someone, anyone, to take her. And now, he realized he had become the only choice she had left. The girl pushed herself weakly onto her knees. She lowered her head until it almost touched the floor, her silver hair spilling forward. "From this day, I will serve you. Not as a slave, but with loyalty. My life is yours. If you accept me, I will never betray you." Her voice shook, but her words were steady. The human stared at her, his heart conflicted. He had not asked for a servant. He had not asked for loyalty. And yet here she was, offering her life when she had nothing else left. He finally spoke, his tone low but firm. "If you stay with me, it won't be easy. The hunters won't stop. Your past won't disappear. And I cannot promise to protect you from everything." The girl lifted her head slightly, her glowing eyes shining with new strength. "I don't need easy. I only need a chance." For the first time, the human felt something stir inside him, a strange mix of pity, respect, and something else he could not name. He gave a slow nod. "Then stay. But not as my servant. Walk with me as my equal." The girl's eyes widened. For a moment she forgot to breathe. Her lips parted as if to speak, but no words came. Tears welled in her eyes, mixing with the faint smile that grew on her face. "Equal," she whispered, as if testing the word for the first time. But before the moment could settle, a sound shattered the fragile peace. Boom. The walls of the storage house shook as something heavy struck the outside. Dust fell from the ceiling. The human stood quickly, his hand moving to the knife on his belt. The girl's body stiffened, fear flashing in her glowing eyes. The hunters had found them. The human cursed under his breath. He had hoped for more time, but time was something they no longer had. He turned to the girl. "Can you use your power again?" She shook her head, panic rising in her voice. "Not yet. It will kill me if I force it." The human tightened his grip on his knife, his eyes locked on the broken door as footsteps approached. Heavy. Many. The girl whispered, "We can't fight them all." The human's jaw clenched. He glanced at her, then at the shadows crawling across the walls. His heart knew the truth. Alone, they stood no chance. And yet, he could not abandon her. Not now. Not after everything. He pulled her close, his voice firm. "Then we run again. Together." The girl nodded weakly, clutching his arm with what little strength she had. The door creaked. Red light glowed through the cracks. The hunters were seconds away. The human's breath slowed. His heart pounded. He knew this was not the end. It was only the beginning. And as the door shattered under the force of armored fists, the girl's glowing marks flickered faintly again, as if her power refused to stay silent.